from Wyoming seek recognition.
I just ask for unanimous consent to submit 2 articles into the record. The moral high ground, the left's so-called morally superior policies kill millions and impoverish billions, and a Hawaii 5 power outages in paradise, how Hawaii's mandated energy transition set the table for rolling blackouts.
Without objection, the chair now recognizes the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Nadler, for 5 minutes.
I thank the chair. Mr. Chairman, everything the American people need to know about today's hearing took place at a July 2022 meeting of the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC, the corporate group that arranges meetings between Republican state legislators and lobbyists to push extreme right-wing policies in all 50 states. It has been reported that this meeting featured a presentation from the Texas Public Policy Foundation, or TTPF, a climate-denying activist group that has received funding from fossil fuel companies and the Koch brothers network. The TPPF representative told the conference that his group was working with a committee of the Texas State Legislature to subpoena a, quote, truckload of documents from financial institutions involved in sustainable investment initiatives. Their goal was to find evidence that the companies had violated the antitrust laws. The Republican majority on this committee answered the call and followed the exact same playbook in its own investigation of sustainable investment. 1, accuse businesses of antitrust violations. 2, subpoena them for as many documents as possible. And 3, desperately search for facts to support a predetermined conclusion. The majority has spent 18 months bullying more than a dozen parties over their investment practices. These include financial institutions, both large and small, nonprofits, and the public pension fund. They've received more than 2.5 million pages of documents and grilled witnesses for over 20 hours. And what has been the result? Not only does all this evidence fail to show an antitrust violation, it shows just how absurd the majority's theories are. Here are the facts. First, participants in sustainable investment initiatives are independent. They do not coordinate their activities. Second, these sustainable investment initiatives do not involve price fixing, boycotts, or divestment at all. Third, these initiatives are good for competition. Unlike the Republicans, businesses and investors recognize that climate change is real and they need to plan for it. Sustainable investing is good for companies. Given these facts, no serious antitrust enforcer would bring a case against these investment initiatives. But that's not what this investigation is really about. It's really about a shadow campaign by the far right and their allies in the oil and gas industry to inject their crusade against sensible climate policy into corporate boardrooms. Multiple independent studies have shown that politically motivated restrictions on investment raise borrowing costs for local governments and saddle taxpayers with unnecessary fees. These misguided policies are also projected to reduce returns for state pension funds, threatening the retirement savings of teachers, firefighters, and other dedicated public servants. The majority would undoubtedly impose these same policies on the whole nation if they ever got the chance, passing on the cost to the American people. For now, they are content to abuse the committee's oversight powers on a shameful partisan fishing expedition, knowing that the investigation will scare businesses and investors away from these lawful and pro-competitive initiatives. For the sake of our economy and our climate, we should all hope that they do not succeed. I thank our witnesses for appearing at today's hearing, and I regret that they have had their reputations dragged through the mud by the majority's entirely unfounded accusations. Attorney General Ellison, I also want to welcome you back to the Judiciary Committee, and I want to ask you, in your view, can dark money groups making baseless antitrust allegations have a chilling effect on legitimate business and investment activity?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. In fact, I think that is the effect of this proceeding today, to intimidate companies that are trying to improve returns, reduce risk from doing so in favor of a specific industry that clearly has come together to try to weaponize Congress in order to help lock America into their product and to try to stifle innovation in new other forms of energy that are more amenable to sustainability.
Thank you. This coordinated dark money campaign against responsible investment has seen great success in convincing state legislatures to pass laws injecting politics into investment decisions. In the 2023 legislative season alone, at least 14 states approved new limits on responsible investment. Mr. Ellison, what effect would state policies blacklisting firms from state businesses over their climate commitments have on the citizens of your state?
Well, if I understand your question, Mr. Chairman, I can tell you that at the SBI, we're trying to have more options, more choice, more ways to make good decisions for the beneficiaries of our pension fund. And any kind of promotion of ideas that would restrict us from considering what's in the best interest of the people who benefit from our public pension fund would be adverse to the best interest of the people in our state.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two UC requests. The majority here seems to be concerned about a cartel. The Biden FTC actually found evidence of a cartel, but in oil and gas. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a joint letter from Democratic members of this subcommittee urging the DOJ to investigate oil and gas collusion after the FTC found evidence of their price-fixing schemes. If the Republicans are so concerned about collusion here, which we have shown is not apparent,
Without
why
objection.
aren't they sending letters about the supposed collusion to our antitrust enforcers or state AGs?
Without
And,
objection.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a McKinsey Diversity Matters report, which says that companies committed to diversity show, quote, a 39% increased likelihood of outperformance for those in the top quartile of ethnic representation versus the bottom quartile. The penalties for low diversity on executive teams are also intensifying. Companies with representation of women exceeding 30% and thus in the top quartile are significantly more likely to financially outperform those with 30% or fewer, unquote. I ask unanimous consent.
Without objection.
I thank you. I yield back.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ellison, you've opined